Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales is now streaming live on Fun Media at fun927.com and is always on Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitch, and at tv5wrestling.com.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales and special guests.
It's not the 3rd of June, which was the night in a dusty Delta afternoon. Billy Joe jumped off the Tallahassee Bridge on the 3rd of June. This is the 2nd of June. This is Talking Memphis Wrestling Big Shows. We will take a look, a deep dive in my road from the start to here, backed up by the main event in my career, Power Pro Wrestling, and its first year also. Jerry Lawler against Rick Gibson, Jerry Lawler against Tommy Rich, Jerry Lawler against Bill Dundee, Jerry Lawler, Rick Gibson, all kinds of people, the loaded show. And we're going to do first take time as we get this thing off and running. Thanks to everybody that made last week's show our most viewed show ever on the Randy Hales YouTube channel, and we appreciate it. Big show today as my best friend, my brother from another mother, Randy Stinking Dandy Randall West is in the house. He's in Hendersonville, Tennessee. First take time because we got a lot to do. Don't know if I can get it all in. First take time, Pat Trammell.
Hello there. Good to see everybody. I'm coming to you. Oh, now you get squared away here. It's not unusual for me to come from a hotel room, but now I'm in the Hilton Hotel in the home of the AWA territory, Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's good to see everybody tonight. I wish I had looked into Randy. I don't know where the AWA held their matches for their TV show and otherwise, but if I thought I could find something, and when we get off, I may look up and see if I can find anything online. And when I get out of this conventioning stuff, I might try to see if I can find something. But anyway, hope everybody's doing well. James, good to see you. Thomas Lemon, good to see you. Hey Calvin, hey Antonio, hey Randy, Wes, good to see everybody. So just glad to be here tonight.
Pat, are you talking about Vern Gagne's AWA television?
I am indeed. Yes, sir.
In the golden age, through probably the early 80s, they taped at a television station in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And Michael, when he comes in here and does his first take, he can tell you exactly where it was. But it was a TV station in Minneapolis.
Okay, well, I'm sitting on Marquette Street in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I think I'm at the heart of downtown because Michael, who knows all things about downtown, told me about the Manny's Steakhouse, which apparently is the oldest restaurant here, and it's a block from where I am. So I'm in the heart of downtown, obviously. So hopefully he'll pop on and we can find something to do.
All right. Here we go, bringing in from Birmingham, Alabama, all kinds of Radio Hall of Fames, the 2024 class of the Memphis Hall of Fame. He is a radio superstar, a radio legend, a radio god, and he is a Talking Memphis Wrestling original and a Talking Memphis Wrestling god. Ladies and gentlemen, from Arab, Alabama, down the road from Huntsville, Alabama, want to bring in to this here show tonight my good friend for his first take, Michael St. Freaking John. Hey, Mike.
I'm just glad it isn't last night when we had the thunderstorms, because after you referenced me as a god, I'd have been struck dead right then. I mean, I'm just glad it wasn't last night. But anyway, hello, Pat. Hello, Randy. Hello, everybody out there. Good to be with you. And hey, Pat, I appreciate you being on the show tonight more than you will ever realize. Passing up a dinner at Manny's Steakhouse, one of the top 10 steakhouses in America for the past 50 years. It's incredible.
Well, I will tell you this. I looked at it, as I told you, it's a block away. And I had not been invited to dinner by anybody with any money. So I thought, well, maybe, and I didn't realize it was as late as it was. Hey, Bo, I thought I'll go over there and try to get an appetizer. Hell, I can't afford an appetizer at that place. Are you kidding me?
I've never bought a steak there.
Look, I think literally that is the most expensive steak I've ever seen, and I'm gonna get it I'm gonna get it online here in just a minute and look at it. But
well, trust me, I've never bought a steak there, but I had some record reps that bought me many a steak there. I can assure you, I spent 18 consecutive years going to the Midwest Conclave in Minneapolis, staying at the Marriott, which is not far from where you are, and enjoyed my time up there. Once got a job offer to go to Minneapolis, and the Lord intervened and told me not to go, and I'm sure I'm glad he did, because I'm not a cold weather guy.
Well, I don't think there's any family members on the show. I had a girl up here one time. I came to see, but only time I've been here.
About Vern Gagne, they taped, I believe it's Channel 3 up there. I think they did all their taping there. And then they ran the old Minneapolis Civic Center or Civic Coliseum, or it was downtown Minneapolis and was a dump. I think they tore it down when they built the Target Center. But that is a very beautiful part of the country, very clean.
It is.
I know it's an area that has been blighted lately in the news, but I always enjoyed my visits in midsummer to Minneapolis. I'll tell you one thing about Minneapolis that nobody, I think, really knows. The fact is they grow the biggest mosquitoes on the face of the earth in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I saw one time, I'm not exaggerating, was as big as my hand. I've never seen mosquitoes the size of what rolls around the Great Lakes of Minnesota.
Michael, I can guarantee you, come to Northeast Arkansas in the rice fields here in Jonesboro, I guarantee you, I fight with those suckers every year. They're bad in Arkansas, in Northeast Arkansas. Hello to Al Tuttle, our buddy. Randy Lee is in the house. Richard Hood, Antonio Cage, my great buddy Barry Hay from Blyville originally, now living in Jonesboro in the house. Todd Alexander, Lucien, a lot of folks in the house today as we are going to not waste a lot of time, except I don't know if Michael, he did a little monologue, but I don't know if he got a first take in. Do you have, before I get into my monologue, do you have anything first take wise to say besides knocking the mosquitoes?
Well, that was a knock on the mosquitoes for sure. Real quickly, two things, folks. If you have not seen the AEW specials, there is if you have a Samsung TV, there's a free channel on Samsung TV called A&E WWE Archives or something like that. And I had the opportunity, somebody cued me that I was mentioned on the Jake the Snake Roberts deep dive they did, and they do a great job of that. So if you haven't seen any of those, I recommend them. But also, our good friend Tony Richards had a really good story today on Harry Thornton. And we talked about Harry, of course, legendary Chattanooga wrestling commentator for the Goulas Welch, the territory for many, many years. And a really good deep dive today. If you have a chance to read that, read that.
Very good. How's the new granddaughter?
Fabulous. I've held her for all, she's 10 days old, and I've held her for all of 2 minutes because my wife, when she's around her, I've never seen bonding like this before in my life. She is like, the baby was over here over the weekend. Melanie held her for an hour and a half. I got her for 2 minutes. So big bonding.
Timothy Bell is in the house. We appreciate it. My buddy from Jonesboro, Frank Seaton, in the house. James Davis is here. So is Lucien. So we appreciate everybody. Now, interesting note, and it made me, when I heard this, Michael and Pat, I'll ask you both. Do you ever go back to the archives and listen to old Jim Cornette experiences? Do you ever listen to the drive-thru? Do you listen to much old Jim Cornette, Pat?
I can answer that because I did it last night. If you get to be my age, you wake up at 3 in the morning. I'm told it's a cortisol issue. But anyway, one of the things, the main thing that I turn on to put me back to sleep is some interviews done in 1983 with President Richard Nixon, my favorite president of all time. But I also occasionally listen to Cornette stuff. And last night I did that and woke up this morning and listened to it, ran it back and listened to what I thought I'd not slept up. But yes, I do listen to it. I listened to 1988 in Georgia last week, last night. But yeah, I've listened. It is unusual that I'm not listening to one of those at least once a week.
How about you, Michael St. John? You listen to many Jim Cornette podcasts. I think you have said you have in the past.
Oh, absolutely. Unlike Pat, though, I sleep like a baby. I wake up every 2 hours and cry. But
you don't have the guilt I do.
No, I would just wake up every 2 hours and cry or pee. But I listen to a lot of Jim's current stuff. I started listening to Jim about 14 or 15 years ago, not religiously, not all the time, but really on road trips. If I'm going to the Tennessee station and coming back, I'll listen to the drive-through going up and the experience coming back, or vice versa. And you know that, and I, like I said, when I'm going every week to Tennessee, then I'll keep up with it every week. But some of his old stuff, I think, is much more entertaining and much more wrestling knowledge than what his current stuff is. But that's just my opinion.
Well, you got to keep him off current events, because I don't care if he's right or left. He's overboard on all of it. So, but yeah, wrestling history I enjoy.
One of the things I thought interesting, and I've listened to a couple of his blasts from the past. One thing was his first time at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis was Jerry Jarrett's first time running the Mid-South Coliseum. That was in April 1977, double main event. Jerry Jarrett's first card, as he had won the promotional war, and the double main event was Jack Briscoe defending the Southern Heavyweight title against Jerry Lawler. In the main event for the NWA World Championship, it was Harley Race defending against Rocky the Soul Man Johnson, that double main event. And that was Jim Cornette's first trip ever to Memphis, and that was like 380 miles, something like that, from Louisville to Memphis, and he enjoyed that as well. My first time, and I believe it was 81 or 82, he came down because he was a big Terry Funk fan. He came down as well, and he for the Terry Funk Jerry Lawler match, the no time, no disqualification we showed a few weeks ago. That's one of my favorite Lawler matches ever. So listen to Jim Cornette. I agree with when he gets off the rails. Sometimes some people might think we get off the rails. I try to rein us back in when we get off the rails, but it is what it is. But it made me think of this, Michael. Have you ever given much thought about the fact, and it slapped me with another podcast that I listened a couple of days ago of Jim Cornette, how similar the path of Jim Cornette is when paired against the path Randy Hales has in the wrestling business. Have you ever heard that, thought about it?
Absolutely. And by the way, he gives you kudos a lot on his podcast. I think I've been mentioned once in 5 years, and you get it like once every week. I mean, he's always referring to you. But I think it's parallel universes, because I think, and I really mean this, and Pat, I know you'll agree with me, we are honored to have two of the best minds in all of wrestling when it comes to wrestling as a sport and wrestling as a promotion, in Randy Hales and Jimmy Cornette, because they learned from the best. They learned from the history and they grew into it. And hey, when you got the best, why screw with the rest? So you guys, absolutely, I agree with that totally.
Timothy Paul's in the house. Richard asked if that Southern title I was talking about from Florida. No, Briscoe had come in and he had won the Memphis version of the Southern title from Lawler, and then he dropped it back. The first Jarrett card, Dusty Rhodes on the card, Harley Race, just a big card. Mike Graham was there, Kevin Sullivan. It was a huge card that drew almost 9,000 people. At the time, the most expensive, we've run through it several times, the most expensive card ever, the most expensive ticket price ever at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. So now, it all started a long time ago and ended up, you can go to Amazon and get Living the Dream, the Randy Hill story of Memphis wrestling. And Pat and Michael St. John was here for the book signing and the book debut, and I appreciate that very much. We get a lot of new people coming here, and in my egotistical mind, I'm thinking everybody has watched the show before. I'm thinking everybody in the world knows who Pat Trammell and Michael St. John is, and they know who the owner, founder, and president of Power Pro Wrestling and Memphis Wrestling, Randy Hills, is. But not so much, because we have new people coming in. So I thought I would do a little resume, and it's so similar. And I want you to take notes in your head, Pat, Michael, I want you to take notes. And it's been a wild, crazy ride for me. Wild, crazy, wild. And we keep kicking, we keep fighting, we keep going at it, man. We keep going at it, and we withhold and hold up the tradition and the legacy of Memphis wrestling. Now, I want to go through my Memphis wrestling resume for those of you that might not know it. I want to do that right now. And as we do that, Mike or Adam, I want you to go full screen a little bit with me real quick. If you go full screen Randy Hills for just a second, and we will talk about it. And I'm going to keep you on your toes, video wise, for sure, because my story began in about 1971, 1972, when I was watching cartoons. Cartoons went off the air. What came on the air was from WHBQ television on Highland Drive in Memphis, Tennessee, Channel 13 Studio Wrestling. The first time I ever saw wrestling in my life. And we're going to play part of our opening again through the old Channel 13 opening is what I want to go. I know I've done this 100 times. It gives me thrills. It gives me chills. It pumps me up. It fires me up. Because one Saturday morning, part of this video is what I saw when I got hooked in this crazy world of Memphis wrestling. I got hooked, people. No doubt about it. Let's watch that opening now. Here we go.
You'll see America's favorite sport on WHBQ television.
All right, there you go, man. All I forgot is have this Lance Russell microphone in my hand and saying it's America's favorite sport on WHBQ television. Mike, thank you for getting the book. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I have plans, just don't have the time, but I want to do a history of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. And Timothy, the legacy of Memphis wrestling is kind of controversial, so I don't really know. I play a lot of the stuff I find on YouTube. Man, great stuff, as I remember back in the day. So about the time I was 10 years old. I was a fan when I went to the American Legion Arena in Jonesboro, Arkansas, about 8 blocks from my house on Washington Avenue. I was raised on Warner Avenue. This was late 71, early 72. I found WHBQ Channel 13 Wrestling. Finally, I started going with a neighbor kid of mine that his dad was the local sponsor for the American Legion, and the rest was history. So I started going every Saturday from late 71, early 72 on, all the way until the point I was out of college, out of high school, and to the point I moved to Memphis at that point and became a full-time employee of Jarrett Promotions. It started as a fan. My first job was to be a picture seller. Now, there was no merchandise table. Eddie Marlin would give me 25 pictures. I would sell them for 50 cents a picture. I would get 10% of that 50 cents for each picture that I signed. Eddie was the promoter, so he was there every Saturday night, but I hustled and I hustled. And that's why I fell in love with Eddie Marlin and Randy West, I think, because at the time he used to always brag I was the best picture seller he had. That's when Eddie Marlin fell in love with me, and that's what started from childhood to the last day of Eddie Marlin's life, not only a friendship, a love affair, because I loved Eddie Marlin. He loved me. I love Randy West and Diane and Tammy and the entire family for sure. So, fan to picture seller. I actually, when I got there, before the wrestlers got there, I got there about 4 or 4:30. I started the popcorn. I put the hot dogs on the grill. I helped run the concessions before the wrestlers got there. I started off in front of the public eye as the ring attendant, and Jim Cornette did that as well. He would go and get the wrestlers' ring jackets. He would get the belts. He would do the timekeeping. He would do that. I did that as well. And so that's the beginning of my story. My story where I fell in love, and let's face it, people, I became obsessed. When I was a freshman in high school, I became a ring announcer for the first time. And I remember my opening words: the American Legion Picket Post number 21 welcomes you to another Saturday night at the American Legion Arena for Memphis Wrestling, conducted under the rules and regulations of the Arkansas State Athletic Commission. That's the first words I spoke. I spoke them again just now with no notes. I took them and said that every Saturday night for years. So during the same time, after the ring announcer, I started working with the newspaper. I would place the ad. I'd call Eddie Marlin, he'd call me, give me the Jonesboro card. I'd type it up and take it to the newspaper. I would take the results on Saturday night. The Jonesboro Sun newspaper was right next to the American Legion Arena. I would circle the winners of the program, take it to them, and they would run them on the Sunday paper. Later on, I started writing the ringside program, Action Ringside. Then, starting in 1981, started going every Monday night. I was the co-ring announcer. I do one match. Normally, I start with the second match. Lance would start the show. I do the second match. He do the third. He would always do the main event. Then I started doing interviews for the Loop. I started doing play-by-play. Then in 1986, I moved to Memphis when Jerry Lawler was booking and began a part of the office as the assistant booker. I was the assistant booker, then became the assistant general manager. Later on, the booker and the general manager of the company. Then, of course, it was Power Pro Wrestling. So it led up to In 1996, when I left the USWA, it wasn't too long before it closed. In 1998, it went all way full circle because this young 10-year-old kid that got scared to death with Al Green was going to do some damage to Jackie Fargo and made me cry. It came full circle that in April of 98, I did Power Pro Wrestling. So for those of you that's never watched this show, I thought it would be good to give a resume. And I don't know if I told anything right then that Michael and Pat has never heard, but Pat, I will let you react to my monologue because we usually, we have to be aware. Sometimes we have a lot of people that's never watched this show before, and we need to be aware of that as well. Any reaction to that monologue?
Well, I've heard you tell me that in bits and pieces, and obviously it's in your book, which I would encourage if somebody hasn't gotten it. That would be something that I would encourage everybody to do, not just because it's your story, but it's an American wrestling story. And I guess it's funny. Those of us who love it uh, have some similar stories, although most of us don't give to live the dream like you have, to quote the book. And I tell you what, we all have people who just have shown up in our lives and have believed in us before we knew we needed to be believed in. And I think Eddie Marlin is that for you, Randy. And
Absolutely. Doc Robinson in the house says hello. Al, we did address this a little earlier. Al says, author of Living the Dream, will there ever be a follow-up? I plan on doing, maybe it might be a couple of years down the road, but I'm planning to do a history of Monday Night Memories in the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. And here's a question that I'm going to let Mike answer. Mike Rubin's question. This is to me, but Michael realized when I was ring announcer starting out, I was a 14-year-old kid. A 14-year-old kid just had the honest to God pleasure and the unique fortune to be able to do this. And as Mike says, did you know who was going over when you were started ring announcing? Now, Michael, you remember the times back then. How much money would you put on the fact? Go ahead and give your answer. Did I know who was going to win?
I when I first rang announced, no. I mean, the announcer may have known, like on the TV show or whatever, but they didn't really smarten up the ring announcer. At least Nick Goulas didn't. So, did you have a hunch as to who was going to win and what was going to happen? And yeah, probably. And if you were in the dressing room, you probably overheard things. So, but as far as somebody coming to you over and going down the list and saying, okay, this guy's going to go over here, this guy's going, it never happened to me as a ring announcer. But as an announcer, of course, we were tipped off.
Now, my first from selling pictures, I had to knock on the babyface door and they would crack it because what I knew by going in before the wrestlers, it was a long hallway and it was obviously we're together, but I would knock on the door and then they not all the way open the door and that sort of thing. And I am so blessed. The people today, and we get so much inside questions, and I understand that curiosity, but I can promise you, and Pat, I think you'll agree with this. Michael, you will agree because all three of us grew up fans of wrestling. Was our always talk, hey, there's something not legit there. Your friend said it, maybe your parents said it, your next door neighbor said it, but we believed. And once the bell ring, by God, nobody is going to tell you that was not real. That was the magic of wrestling. And Michael, thank God I didn't become a fan of today's product in 2026, even in the last, a good 10 years. I don't think my story, more than don't think, my story would not be the same if I started watching wrestling if the product was like it is today. First of all, Pat, do you agree with that?
Well, I agree with that, and I want to answer. I think it's Richard's question. In my opinion, the best wrestler ever to come out of Alabama is Bobby Eaton from Huntsville, Alabama, and Dennis Condry's a close second. Uh, when you talk about that, and you talk about is it a work or is it a fake? Is great theater fake? I mean, is a novel you put on your bedside with tears in your eyes fake? I mean, wrestling does not get near, and I'm not a very sensitive guy, okay, and I'm not an artist like other people, but uh, you know, the fact that it isn't that it's fiction doesn't mean it isn't real. If you don't believe that, read Absalom, Absalom by William Faulkner, or read Harper Lee, or read any other author, Southern author that you want, and read To Kill a Mockingbird. Because it's predetermined does not mean it's not real.
That's for sure, and those are good statements. Mike is again asking another question. I guess he's interested in this. He asked about how about when I was a commentator? I was a commentator of the Mid-South Coliseum matches, and I was probably going to the Mid-South Coliseum for a couple of years. I would go to the interview room, and sometimes Hills and Babyfaces would be in there together, but the actual dressing room, I wasn't in. And no, when I was doing commentary of the Mid-South Coliseum matches, no, I did not know who was going to win and didn't want to know because I wanted to call it a sporting event type of thing. And I knew I might not be quite as excited if I knew who was going to win. So absolutely, if I was host of a television program and doing that, the announcer needs to be smartened up on angles and that sort of thing. They could screw something up, but in my area, my time in doing that, certainly no, because there was many years. Because Michael, I don't think it's because everybody's smart or think they're smart now. Michael, people just can't. You lived it. Pat was the fan during that time. Michael, people just don't comprehend that. I mean, they don't comprehend the fact that this business was protected, and when it was protected, it was so much better.
The business was protected until the mafia went down, and as soon as Umberto and the mafia, the Emerita, disappeared, so did the wrestling kayfabe disappeared. They were almost parallel. Not that the mafia and wrestling are parallel, but there's a lot of parallel. But I think the people that are fans today go in with a preconceived notion and a lot more in knowledge of behind the scenes than you and I or Pat or any of us ever had. I mean, we saw what came over the TV screen. We didn't see it on our phones. We didn't see it in the on a via videotape or anything. We saw what came across the screen, and that was real. Our good friend over in Atlanta, Mr. Willis, he says it's still real to me, and wrestling is still real to me. And to be honest with you, it's still real to me. I don't care what I know or what I don't know. All I know is wrestling is a great sport for eliciting human emotion at its very core. Love, hate, good, evil, bad, good. I mean, it's simplistic in that way. But the fact of the matter is I think the people that are into wrestling today, we just had a show here Saturday night at the Von Braun Center with AEW. And I'm not throwing any shade on Tony or an AEW, but I had an appointment at 1:00 Friday at Alabama A&M University's new arena to meet a guy that they're pushing. I forget his name now, but it doesn't matter. And I was supposed to be there at 1:00. Well, it's 45 minutes from where I live and where I work to that particular arena. My son is a police officer at the place next door. Their precinct is next door. I got out there at 1:00. Well, I don't read text when I'm in my car. I don't have them coming up on my phone. If they do, my phone's laying down. I don't pay attention to it. If my phone rings, it shows up on the screen on CarPlay. But apparently I had been getting a text since about 12:25 that they were there early and that wanted to know if I could come right then and there. Well, heck, I had 10 minutes into the drive, 15 minutes drive. So I didn't know about it until I got out of the car and I read the text. I went, well, damn. Well, I go into the arena and of course they're gone. We couldn't wait. Well, the appointment was at 1 and your subsequent appointments were thereafter. I think you could have stayed there until 1. And so, and again, the marketing for AEW behind the scenes, getting tickets to stations that give it away, whatever, is nowhere close to where the WWE is. So again, with AEW, and again, I'm not throwing Tony under the bus because I think
it's Jeff Jarrett's. He deals with that sort of thing. That's partly his department.
It's a total it's a dumpster fire. And I don't know what to say. I've worked in independents. I worked with the Poffos, for gosh sakes. I worked with Reno Riggins, right? And then they were together. They had their what together, and they never got too big for their britches. And they never, And I want to say this guy. I want to say his name is something to do with bubblegum or big. I forget. I'll have to look up his name. But the fact of the matter is I think fans today are jaded, or they wouldn't be fans. And that's my take on it.
All right.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you, Randy, if I could interrupt.
Sure.
Just something that has struck me that I'm going to stop doing. When WWE has a big event like WrestleMania or
SummerSlam, Royal Rumble,
all of Royal Rumble, all that stuff. Generally we'll watch it. I'll buy it, and Randy will buy it, and Michael, sometimes you'll buy it, Chris, Bo will buy it, and sometimes we'll have a recap show. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I get on social media, and I see what Meltzer has to say about the matches and all that kind of stuff. And there's so much talk about why it's going on. Well, one guy needs to win to set up so and so to get over next time, and down the road, what they're doing is they're building CM Punk to do this or that, and we shouldn't worry about that. We should be in the moment, yes, which is what wrestling has always allowed people to be, in the moment with a clear good versus evil, and not worried about how much they're drawing and all that kind of stuff.
Now, I don't mean to put the boots to somebody, but this is putting the boots. And Michael, you helped me with this, and Pat, you kind of brought it up. I think, Michael, when Dave Meltzer started putting out the Wrestling Observer, and then he had several different wrestlers he would talk to on the phone, and some real famous people. One with Memphis ties, but Terry Funk. There's so many people, Ric Flair, so many people over the years talked to Dave Meltzer, and that was a source. And then all of a sudden, especially as it went on and on and on, and the internet and social media, and then most people think Dave Meltzer is wrestling God. He is the expert. His opinion, I think they're seeing through him a little bit, Michael, now, because enough people like Jeff Jarrett and Bruce Pritchard and Eric Bischoff and so many people kind of go at him. But the era of the Wrestling Observer, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I got a big show today. The era of the Wrestling Observer, the more popular it got, the less popular, especially with territory wrestling, the less popular it got. I mean, do you see that? Do you agree?
Yeah. Let me say, first of all, a lot of people these days think that Meltzer is on the payroll at AEW.
I
that
don't.
and I don't either.
I think he's just a mark. What?
Well, listen.
I think he was on the payroll before they ever had their first match. Now I don't know if he still is, but I'm convinced he was.
I don't think he was, because I don't. Here's the thing: Tony Khan was a big. That's who smartened up. Meltzer smartened up Tony Khan, and then for Meltzer, I think Meltzer calls Tony, and I heard this story. Conrad basically implied this. They shot an angle. It looked like they were, and I don't know how true this is. Conrad believes it 100%. They shot an angle where it looked like Jeff Jarrett's last world title run, and they started it. He made that announcement that he wanted his last chance for a world title, and he wanted a match with MJF, and the people went bananas. What a story. However, according to Conrad says that Brian Alvarez, Meltzer's cohort, called Tony Khan and said, "Nobody, Jeff Jarrett's a thing of the past. Nobody wants to see this old wrestler. They want 6-star matches, 7-star matches, that sort of thing." And then Conrad got hot. He said, "This is how Jeff Jarrett and so many other wrestlers make their living with this business, and you cost him a world title program, a main event slot, which with his age was going to be his last big hurrah, and because you went complaining to Tony Khan, and this is certainly, there's a reason Conrad would say this, so somebody told him this. I believe it 100%, and where I blame Tony Khan is, what do you think, if anybody, including you, Pat, as good of friends we are, I'm running a wrestling show, and you called me back in October when I was doing the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, and you said, "Randy, Danny Davis shouldn't be in your Hall of Fame." Do you think I would have listened to you, or do you think I would go with my gut and go with what I think was right?
Well, I didn't say that, you know.
I know.
I know, but just to be clear, I think Danny Davis certainly should be in the Memphis.
He texted me today.
Well, good.
I have a big story coming up in the upcoming months on something he's working, and it's not returning to promotion, but an interesting Danny Davis story that he didn't say not to, but he didn't say do it, so I'm not going to do it. So I'm working on something for that project as we speak. But go ahead, Pat.
I contend. I have always contended, like Conrad, that Meltzer was on the Khan's payroll because he put those guys over from the day they even started thinking about it. You know, Cody and the other two guys hooking up with them and getting that, and it was, you know, it's all he would talk about forever. And I believe to this day that, you know, he was on the payroll because before they ever had the first match, he had been talking about them for months and months and months.
Because Dave Meltzer is a Japanese wrestling fan, Tony Khan, a Japanese wrestling fan.
I understand
that program, and for Dave Meltzer to be able to call Tony Khan and criticize or affect Tony Khan, I think Dave Meltzer has influence. I think unless Tony Khan would say, "Hey, I'll give you so much money," I really don't think that's happening, because I think in a heartbeat Dave Meltzer would do it for free. But I still think it's a horrible influence. And Tony, I think if he is, and I think he is being influenced by Dave Meltzer, shame on him. Let's wrap this discussion up, because we turned it in instead of the Randy Hill's career story. We turned it into.
You're adding to your career, Randy. I mean, you're now a talk show host. That's a damn good one, and you're adding to your career. So let's just call this the future Randy Hill show.
Okay, his tirade, my response to his tirade, and you put this subject about modern wrestling and Dave Meltzer, and I know I brought it up. Put it to rest right now, and we'll move along.
First of all, James wanted to know if Nick and Tony, or Nick Khan and Tony Khan, are brothers. They are not. They're different Khans. So is Kubla Khan, just for the record. But just let me just say this. I think Meltzer, and Dave Meltzer is a damn good writer, except he gets wordy. I mean, you know, I don't have time to read a Bible every day. I try to read the Bible every day, but I don't read the whole thing. And I think Dave is so deep in it, and Tony is a mark, and he's coming out of it. And you know, God bless Tony's a good wrestling person. And if my daddy was as rich as Tony's daddy was, I'd probably start a wrestling company too. But then it's his game, and God bless him. I hope he makes 2 million, 2 billion, 2 trillion, whatever he makes and can. But I think right now that we are seeing in wrestling today, we're seeing a lull. And I can't put my finger on it, but I think we've got some young guys that are coming on that are good, different style, but good. We got guys that you and I and Pat were all raised on. In fact, we were adults when they were breaking in, i.e. Jeff Jarrett, and they are starting to retire and to leave the business, go into other areas of the business. And in between there is this great wash of not a lot of talent. And so I think we're going to see wrestling sort of even out over the next 3 or 4 years, at least to 2030, and then probably, you know, reinvent itself and come on. But I think one of the things that we are seeing is a product in wrestling of what is happening in society. And this is an instantaneous gratification world that we live in. I have a 7-year-old grandson that's all about it. He wants it now. He doesn't understand weight. He doesn't understand, you know, I have a birthday coming up. When he asks for Pawpaw something, he wants it now. Okay. That's today's society. I think what we're seeing in wrestling, and I think the WWE is falling into it. They're racing through angles. They're racing through storylines. They're racing through things that really back in our day, it was taking time, and it built the animosity, or it built the love, or it built the passion. And I don't think we're building that with young people right now. That's my take. Take the show where you want it.
All right, full screen Randy Hales, Adam Dunn. As I repeat, because we have more people coming, and we may not get to this whole show, every video, but we'll continue next week. But again, as we go full camera, full screen with me real quick, Adam, it started as a fan, then to a picture seller, then to a popcorn cooker, a concession stand operator, a ring attendant, a timekeeper, a ring announcer, working with newspapers, putting out window cards, writing the program, co-announcing at the Mid-South Coliseum, interviews, became an office staff, the assistant booker, the assistant GM, the booker, the owner of Power Pro Wrestling. After the circus, after the wrestling, I worked for Sonic. Then I worked for the Cole Brothers Circus. Then I ran Jerry Lawler's Bar and Grill. And now, as my gig, where I make my money, is Uber driving, doing good. But my passion is doing this show with Pat Trammell and Michael St. John, and drop-ins from Chris Ellis and from Dr. William Robinson. We bring you Talking Memphis Wrestling, and we have formed a show that I am very proud of. Now, when the USWA went away, when Memphis Wrestling on Channel 5 went away, I thought it was it for me. But I had the meeting. I drove up. I got a meeting. Had people go with me to the meeting, and we secured Channel 5. The USWA thing was in a lawsuit. Couldn't call it that. Decided to call it Power Pro Wrestling. Later, after Power Pro Wrestling, which lasted 154 shows in 3 years, went away, Adam Dunn, who was a big lover, not going to say a fan, he loved the Power Pro TV product. He put out a sneak peek. This is a recap, and it's 16 minutes in length. As a matter of fact, 16 minutes and 40 seconds and links. We will keep our sound on, Pat. Normally, this is the time where we can make comments, and we will. Michael will. We will. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is just some highlights of some of the craziest moments of Power Pro sneak peek. 16 minutes and 40 seconds long. We watch along with Michael and Pat. Adam Dunn producing. This is Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Memphis, Tennessee, known worldwide for the beautiful sights of the Mississippi River, for being known as the birthplace of the blues and Beale Street, and for being the home of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. For 50 years, Memphis has been the professional wrestling capital of the world. And now, it's with great pleasure that we welcome you to the very first edition of TV5 Power Pro Wrestling.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Dave Brown with Corey Macklin. We are live in the studios of WMC TV5 with Power Pro Wrestling, and it's underway. Oh, right now.
After the absence of wrestling on TV5 for several months, Pat Trammell, is that the way to make a first impression?
That's all right there. I've never seen the King come in that way before.
That's a Randy Hales idea, man. I shot my best shot, Michael.
I like this. I've actually seen this film, but I love this. This is a great part.
Power Pro started in April. That was June.
I see an opponent for Bruiser Graham. It's Sid Vicious.
The late Sid Vicious.
Randy, look at this.
I'm coming to Memphis, and ain't nobody gonna stop me. And it's been 4 years in the making. And if you ask anybody in the dressing room, they'll remind you, I'm stiff. I'm real stiff. So Friday night, February 12th, Brandon, the Bad Street Boogie's coming to town. And guess what, Randy Hales? You and Jim Cornette? Ain't got a prayer.
The New Daisy Theater, Beale Street, Memphis, Tennessee. We brought back the Fabs. We were doing a program where Stacy was jealous and wanted to make Jerry Lawler more jealous. She brought in the Fabs, referee Aubrey Lynn. And if Adam Dunn wants to comment on anything that's happening, certainly he can.
Turn and a 3 count. Hey, look out! Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette. Cornette shows up with that tennis racket. What is this? Hey, come on. Looks like everybody's trying to collect $5,000 here today. Master B are here.
Hey, we're going to whoop that one so bad when I get through with him, it ain't going to be.
Hey, I'll talk over that a little bit, and you never knew what would come out of the mouth of
Oh, look out.
ATV5.
Where it doesn't belong in here.
His chair shots were sort of stiff.
Absolutely.
Between me and Lawler, and I promise you, he's in the main event. It's the king. That's why.
You're 5'7". What are you? $180. I'm 6'5", 250 pounds of shredded steel.
Samantha Builder and Sean Stasiak and Brian Christopher.
Whatever happened to Sean?
He is a chiropractor
has been very
in Texas.
proud of his own body ever since he's been here.
You got a good physique, and when you go to the gym just like this,
His dad was a heck of a worker.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, on his shoulders. Mr. Hale's
Matt Blue, the current head trainer of WWE Developmental.
Dundee and Street with a chair. Looked like he was putting a sleeper in. He is. He's putting a sleeper on the referee. Come on, Nick. Come on, Nick.
Now, as I watch Memphis Wrestling, watching it right now.
Brady over the top of his head, man.
This wasn't your typical daddy's Memphis Wrestling. Ambulances and all. Look at those people, Pat and Michael, as Lawler makes that comeback.
Steve Bradley. Oh! He touches big grind.
Great move.
That was a heck of a spot.
Nice drop kick. Look at this,
Yeah.
Dave, out on the floor. On the concrete floor.
Unfortunately, we lost several years ago.
I'm
Steve Bradley
impressed
was
that
great.
Steve Bradley saw Grimes coming and was able to convert it into a drop kick.
Richard Hood
Grimes
went
down on
to
the floor with a
school
ladder
in
on top of
Georgia.
it.
Now you talk about
With
hardcore,
got
Dave.
stuck.
This is
We
it
were
right here
not
today on the
strong.
Power Hour. Action all over the place. Out on the floor they go. Steve Bradley.
I like the configuration of the studio. It's different.
You know, because I was a little worried about the lawsuit, them saying the people that own USWA, if China went out of business, I wanted it to be as different as possible. Of course, we had the same announcers, but I wanted the announcers to be in a different area, and I wanted the company to be called something else. It was a liability issue, but it was the right thing to do.
He's got J.R. Smooth.
J.R. Smooth is Rikishi in the WWE, and Kurt Angle. Listen to the people, Pat and Michael. Listen to the people as Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist, wins his first pro wrestling title right in Memphis, Tennessee. The Power Pro Heavyweight Championship.
Was he there part of the WWE contract?
Yes, absolutely. Phase 2 of that. This is the angle when we were doing a personal issue that got over with me and Brandon Baxter. I thought this dude, it was on a Halloween show, I thought this dude was Brandon, and I am going to put him in the thing, but I get fooled. There's Spider-Man on a Halloween show. That's Brandon Baxter, and I get attacked by Spider-Man.
Christopher backstage in real life. You know it just as well as I know it, Dave. Nobody.
Dave got hot at me
He's
here.
an
Listen.
egotistical maniac, and to tell you the truth, quite frankly, Brian Christopher is a. I can't help it, Dave. Brian Christopher, you're a prick. Come on there, Randy.
Can you say that?
No, but I did.
Hey, look out, Dave, look out, Randy.
Is that a shoot?
Hey, come on. What is
No, I never had one argument with Brian Christopher in my life. I was just trying to get heat on him.
What you call me? What you call me?
I found out later getting a light bulb like that busted over your head, and the fans are chanting prick right there. I got a light tube busted over my head. That's dangerous, Michael.
Yeah, it is. Not as much for the glass, but for what's inside.
Yes.
They keep pulling all this same kind of stuff. I tell you what, once they get Randy in that cage tonight, pull the ambulance up here. Oh, goodness. Look out, Derek. Randy opens the doors to them. Oh, hey, help was on the way, but they stopped midst of this.
Got a brawl going on out in the hallway. Jared's thrown into the back of the ambulance. The calls are slapping the back window saying, drive on. Here comes Baldo and
Brandon
Baxter, but a little bit too late.
And Randy's gone. We can't even pick him up.
Yeah, there goes Randy running on down the street.
No, Ahmad, we didn't.
There's no telling where he's headed.
Angle comes back. Oh. Dodges that clothesline, and look at Bulldog. Oh. 1, 2, 3. He got it. It's going to stick for a 3. Kurt Angle with the win. Nice bout there for Angle, and an impressive win once again on the Powwow.
Let's go back outside. Something else going on out in the parking lot.
What else?
Spent half the show out there today, it seems like.
We've had the limo. We had the.
How's the parking lot guy, Michael?
We're big in the parking lot.
Look at this.
I recognize this parking lot.
Always thinking small time. Talking about going to put somebody in an ambulance tonight in Jonesboro. We're thinking of something a little bit more by now, if you know what I mean. Because Randy Hales, we got your transportation after the Rage in the Cage tonight. Your transportation.
That Bulldog Reigns.
No, that's Baldo.
Okay, gotcha.
Matt Bloom.
Now, right here in this ring, there's a television camera on, and there's probably at least 100,000 people that are watching this right now, and I'm sure they would love to see this get settled once and for all, because let's face it, just, you say you guys like us, we like you, yeah, right, but you guys think you're the best team. We think we're the best team. Why don't we just get in this little ring right here and settle it once and for all? There's plenty of time left. What do you say?
Is that what you people want to see? Is that what you want to see? You want to see it settled here on TV? Is that what you want?
Hey, look out.
Lane and Kern going after Dundee and Lawler answering the challenge, battling here on the floor. Nothing in the ring or down on the floor, but now all of a sudden Dundee rolls into the ring. Here's Stan Lane following him in there.
The fans, this was my mistake. The fans did not want to see the Fabs as heels. It did not draw. Now watch this. Look at the camera shot we get in just a minute. We're kidnapping downtown Bruno in the hearse. What kind of SHIT is that?
On his way downtown or somewhere, and he's got himself.
Rumble on the river. The action continues in the ring. Dr. Tom Pritchard, the Doctor of Love, going against Too Sexy Brian Christopher.
Willing, the first ever primetime show for television, Memphis Wrestling, was Power Pro Wrestling on Channel 5 on the 4th of July, 1998. And Brandon Baxter gets painted red, white, and blue.
This man is bigger. This man is better. This man will be the new king. And here he comes. It wins with great pride.
Is this when you introduce the king of the drizzling shits?
Yes, later to become in the WWF, the Giant Silva. I called him the Giant King. Mr. Coffee in the background there.
This is the happiest day of my life.
July the 4th, 1998. Watch this. Don't say that I wasn't ahead of my time, Michael. A helicopter shot.
I know, that wasn't a drone, by the way.
No, that was a helicopter. Because it was there for the 4th and the 4th, the Star Spangled Celebration, and so I took advantage of it.
What in the world? Lawler goes in and he nails Randy Hales.
Lawler, remember Lawler weighs 236 pounds. He is no small man.
Yeah, that's look at that Stacy is.
Yeah,
Bo James says his shoulder is still messed up from Giant Silva.
Not going to be effective at all.
No, sir.
Randy throws Stacy back.
He tosses Stacy down.
All right.
Hey,
yeah.
I don't know if you can hear me or not, Randy Hales, but I'll tell you one thing. There's only been kings in Memphis. Elvis Presley's one of them, and you're looking at the other one. You think that's big idiot? I'm going to come in and take my place. You got another thing coming. Right up here.
There's one of our producers, George.
Hey, look, I know that Randy Hale sits up here every secret show. Now, where is he, Dave?
Lawler's up in the...
Hey, look, you get out of my way. You understand that? Now, I know where he is.
Come on.
Get him up here. All right. Hey, I'm going. Don't worry.
Director James Estes.
Whoa. Oh, my goodness. Randy.
My Plymouth, New Yorker, Pat.
Lawler breaking.
You know, that's really one of the first, I mean, you got an anger out of Lawler that was 40, 30 years in the making.
Ask his first wife. What a good guy.
Randy, let's don't do that.
Ask his two sons that he didn't give a you-know-what about. Ask Jerry Calhoun. Ask Bill Dundee. Ask his second wife, Paula. And this is another thing. People always ask me, Dave, they come up on the street and ask about the situation with Stacy. What's the relationship with Lawler and Stacy? Well, let me tell you, Stacy is nothing more than a two-bit.
Now wait a minute. We're not going to do that. You're not going to say that sort of thing.
Lawler gave me that line, Michael.
You shouldn't be doing this anyway. And look out,
he wasn't shooting. Come on.
Here. Lawler's gotten loose from security, Dave, and they're headed. Randy's out to the parking lot again. Let's go see what's happening. That doesn't look good.
Here we go with the parking lot again.
And this is over maybe a 10-month period. We did not do this every week. It just looks like it.
Is that Dave out there holding you back?
Yeah, Dave's holding me back. Corey is out there. Bruno, Bill Rush. And there I am in my boxers, Pat, running down Union Avenue in Memphis, Tennessee. That is the first 10 months or so of Power Pro Wrestling, thanks to Adam Dunn. Now, I know you hadn't maybe not seen all that. Your take on what we just saw, now I got to take a breath.
I don't know that I've seen it all at that one time. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I think it's just illustrative of, how you up, it wasn't your father's Memphis wrestling. It was at a next level for a new generation, but you took the heart and soul of Memphis wrestling and just turned it up a notch or 6.
And remember, Pat, what they were seeing. That was the start of the Monday Night Wars, or it had started. So you saw wild and crazy stuff and main event matches on Raw and on Nitro. I knew that I just had to amp up our product for sure. No doubt about it. And it was just a thrill again.
Let me ask you something. When you were doing Power Pro, did you watch, other than as a fan, did you watch the other wrestling shows for research?
Of course, in 95 or 96 with the USWA, I was booking. I was working on Monday nights. So, no, I did not. And then later on in the Power Pro guys, I did. I watched flip back and forth from Nitro to Nitro to Monday Night Raw. Richard Hood asked a question. Adam, if you could put that, asking me a question there. And again, I'm knowing me as much as he does. I'm going to have, it's a Richard Hood question, and I can put it up there if Adam's not finding it. Michael, you're me, and you're going to answer the question as me. And this is 1998.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Was the police notified when there was an angle in the parking lot? Unless it was the guy in the arena that knew, who was an off-duty policeman that was just there. No. No.
Well,
absolutely.
Now, let me say something real quick, too. You were not the first person to ever run down Union Avenue in your skivvies. That was done years ago.
Yeah. Well, let me say this.
But I always saw people running down Union Avenue in their underwear. And I remember I worked at Union at 100 Union up there at WMPS. So I'd see those ladies and gentlemen coming out of that radio station late in the evening many a time.
So, Michael, some of that you've seen because we've shown it. Some of it you have not. Your thoughts on the 16 minutes we just made our viewers put up with?
Well, I'll agree with Pat. Pat, I think nailed it. You were way ahead of your time. And I think what you also did is you took the time and the era that this was all occurring and made it look so real. I mean, that's the one thing about so much of Memphis wrestling that we've seen in the past, and we've seen, of course, with Power Pro. It looked real. Dave Willis would say it. It was wrestling's real to me. It's real. And that's an art that's been lost too.
Thank you very much, Bo. It was a Power Pro this time. Bo was a part of it. Special time in his life. Thank you, Bo, for coming down that long trip and not making a lot of money and getting connections and learning about how to produce television. And hopefully it worked out for both of us. It just gave me chills. I like what I'm doing now. I liked my run as a ring announcer and a general manager and a booker and the USWA run. But when it's your own thing, Michael, when it's your own thing, and you can relate now as an owner of a radio station in one of the fastest growing markets in the United States, when you own your own thing, it's just something special, right?
It is, but it's also difficult in that you are totally consumed by what you have to do to run your business. And I know, Randy, you ran into it. I mean, it's not just talent issues. There's always something bubbling that you always got to have a fire extinguisher on your belt so you can put out the little fires. But the reward is phenomenal, because when you lay your head on that pillow at night to go to sleep, there's not a bigger satisfaction in the world to know that you did the best you could and you've got something that's very special to show for it.
Now, this is a sidebar that I don't want to spend a lot of time with, but it's very important. Now, what I was going through with Power Pro was a unique time in the wrestling world. It was the Monday Night Wars, which was at the time the biggest pop in the history of the wrestling business on the two biggest territories, and that's what we were competing against. Now, I want to talk about your business, the radio business, the broadcasting business, that sort of thing. Do you see any parallels? Because now you have Spotify and you have streaming services and you can listen to any song known to man. You can watch almost every, somehow or another, you may have to buy packages, but NFL package, and NBA package, and Major League Baseball package, the parallel. I was fighting the last fight for a live television show, and we were the last live weekly television wrestling show in Memphis. Now, so much has changed in radio, and I know I tell you, I don't want to spend a lot of time with this, but it's not something we can probably just let die on the vine because I brought it up. Do you see that parallel, Michael?
Without a doubt, Randy, without a doubt. And in today's time, I mean, come the 31st of July, 29 years in this particular area, and we've had good times and we've had bad times, and we're going through a period of time now that we've never gone through before, but so much of it is not that the wrestling had changed or that radio has changed, but the environment and the way people look and act around those two, whether it's the sport of wrestling or the entertainment value of radio. It's a different perception. And as an owner, you have to adapt and understand that, but you've also got to deal with the outside noise. And I think that's what's, local radio, I hate to say it, and I'm not predicting a doomsday effect on it, but the people that have put their heart and soul and their blood and their money and their careers on the line to to do what the FCC asks you to do with your license, which is to serve the public, are right now, A, dying off, B, under attack, C, not having the financial abilities to continue to exist over the long term. I think local radio, local newspapers, same boat. TV stations, local TV stations in smaller markets, same boat. You got too many factions on the outside that can do what you do as good as what you do it. And I hate to say that, but social media is one of those things. My wife's a perfect example. I have a breaking news story I put on the air Saturday, okay, with the storms coming through. She already read about it 30 minutes before. She said, "Why'd you break in?" I said, "Well, it's breaking news." I read about it 30 minutes ago.
Jesus, it's crazy. I want to ask you a quick radio question, and then we'll get back to wrestling. I listen to East Arkansas Broadcasting, which is this station that my pal Brandon Baxter, big part of, and they have 7 or 8 stations just in this market. They cover every music format. They cover news. They cover sports. It's just a great group. One of the things they play a public service ad sort of thing. They're urging their listeners to write to Congress or the FCC or somebody to make sure that the government doesn't pass some kind of ruling saying that the new cars, they don't want new cars to be made without AM radio. Now, are you familiar with that? They play that ad all the time. Can you elaborate?
I got involved in this 4 years ago through the efforts of our Lieutenant Governor here, Will Ainsworth, who came to me about it. It's one of those things. Here's the deal. You're not fighting the government. The government doesn't want AM radio to go away. They don't want FM radio. They don't want AM radio to go away. That's not the problem. Who you're fighting is the corporates. You're fighting Ford, you're fighting Chrysler, you're fighting Daimler, you're fighting the foreign cars. I bought a car. My car now is 54 weeks old. And our chief of police, yesterday I was at the groundbreaking of the new AREB high school. And our chief of police came up and said, "Man, I love this car." I said, "Well, thank you." He said, "How long have you had it?" And I told him. He said, "Man," and I've got, it's no secret, I've got an Arcadia. I've got a GMC Arcadia, not the most expensive, not the least expensive, but just a good quality car. The biggest thing that I had, and when I bought it last year, I was a year younger than I am now. I was about to drive it off the lot. I turn it on. The screen is the size of an iPad, a good, a regular size iPad, 16-inch screen, 18-inch screen, whatever. Couldn't find the radio. I had to stop the car, go back into Howard Bentley Buick GMC, get my sales guy that had drove the car out there. I said, "How do I turn the radio on?" Because it's all on an iPad-based screen.
Yes.
And the radio's not in front of you. All your apps are up there. Your CarPlay's up there, but your radio dial's not. And you have to go to 2 different screens, punch, to get to a radio screen. Then you have to choose AM, FM, Sirius, streaming, blah, 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 blah. There's 9 different apps that are up there. You have to hit FM. Then you have to find your station. You know what current car radios, what current GMC radios, what current General Motors radios don't have? And a lot of folks will say, "You're kidding me." A scan button. You used to be able to hit a scan button. It would play for 5 seconds and then move to the next, signal it could pick up, play for 5 seconds. No scan button anymore.
I can't do it in my 21, my Ford Escape.
And how many listeners did any radio station? I'm sure Brandon will tell you the same thing. Listeners would discover your radio station, especially people coming in from out of town or new to the area. They'd scan and find out what's out there. No scan button.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. Pat, I want you to read this Bo James, King of King Sport, quote and his view on kind of turning it into TV. And then I want you to comment on it after you read it, Pat. Then we want Michael to talk about it. This is not just a wrestling show, folks. We talk things important to us. As Pat reads this, then comments on it, and then we go right to Michael St. John.
The TV fight is way different now. Broadcast TV is going away. less people watching every day. In 9 weeks, we're the first TV show in this time slot in 3 years to draw a rating. They told us that. Got a lot of comments on that, and it's kind of interesting because it happens in my own house. I've learned. I am a creature of habit, very much a creature of habit. I want my cable TV. I have standard cable down in my cave where I watch TV. Every other television in the house has streaming. And what I've noticed is people they don't watch shows that come on. They don't wait for Tuesday night at 7 o'clock to watch Happy Days. They don't wait for 10:30 on Saturday morning to watch Memphis wrestling. They don't wait until 6:05 Saturday night to watch wrestling on TBS. They watch stuff that they're interested in on a streaming basis, one show right after the other. They watch Yellowstone over a weekend. It's so different now, but what I see, and what Bo is telling us is their show and wrestling is something different, and the only place you can get it is on TV in North Alabama on Saturday night. And it's something new and it's something unique. What's old is new again. I appreciate Bo so much and what he and Judy Lee have done because they're bringing something that he's been doing since he was 16 years old, and you did too, back to and making it something unique in a world of streaming, short dramas, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's an excellent response to that, and thanks to Bo for his response for that. And I kind of see that Michael is on the text. Michael, can you comment to what we're talking about, or do you have a project going on right now?
No, I just got a call from my engineering consultant in Tennessee. He doesn't know that I'm doing a show right now. I think Pat's right on target. And first of all, let's go to Bo's comment. He's absolutely right. Network TV. I was at Channel 31 in Huntsville, the ABC affiliate, today at 2:30. They just got bought out by Gray TV, who owns Channel 48 here in town.
They also own, Michael, let me jump in. Gray TV owns TV5 now, and K8, KAIT in Jonesboro. They're all over the place. Go ahead.
They are, and they're not a bad broadcaster. And I'm anxious to see what they do now with the duopoly here in Huntsville. But the last time I went up to Channel 31, Mike Wright, my good friend, was the general manager, was probably right before Christmas. I took him a little Christmas goodie, and, we grabbed a quick bite and whatever. And their parking lot was full. And they're on top of Montesano Mountain. It's a small parking lot, maybe 30 cars. It's full. I couldn't find a parking place. Today I went up there. There's 6 cars in the parking lot. That's how many people they've already gotten rid of. And they had a newscast coming up at 4 o'clock, and I was there at 3 o'clock, 3:15. So I think that's indicative of what's happening. As you lose people, you lose creativity, and you lose the source of what entertainment is based on, whether it be radio, TV, wrestling, you name it. When you start cutting people, you start cutting the product. And I think that what Bo said about network TV is true. What Pat said about streaming, I think, is true. Right now, I have a smart monitor on over here. I don't know what channel I'm on, other than the fact I know it's showing drone shots from all over the world. And it's just constant. They run some commercials every now and then. And it just plays in the background. But us, old school people, I like Pat, I got DirecTV. I want to be able to go from Channel 31 to Channel 48 to ESPN to E&E, wherever I'm going. With streaming, you can't do that. You got to find it. You got to download it, and then it pops up. And then if you've got bad internet speed in your house, it spins the little wheel in the middle of a program or whatever. What Bo has done with live TV in Huntsville, and I said this a couple of weeks ago on this show, is amazing, because he's taken a half-hour show on a Saturday night at 9:30, and he has put a mission on that people now are starting to get on and to gravitate to, where it's episodic. What's going to happen next? And you're not seeing that a lot in TV and any kind of streaming, or a lot. Like Pat says, you see binge watching. So now there's a call to action. And I think Bo's, we're about to do so. He's about to run some towns. We've already got some advertising on the radio for it. And we've already gotten a couple of calls. When's that wrestling going to be? Because they've seen it on TV. Now they want to see it in person. Not a bad philosophy. But you know what? What goes around, the earth is round. My grandfather used to say it, the earth is round. It's going to come full circle again, full circle again, full circle again. If we got a long enough life to see it come full circle.
Tony Richards has a good comment. Adam, if you could put that on, he's talking about the viewers of television now. He says they have no memory of the things we do. The new way is the way it's always been as far as they're concerned, because it's the younger people, that's all they know. The way things are now, that's all they know. They don't know how important radio was with us before TV ever was. The radio was the thing. Then TV became it. The people today, they can entertain themselves sitting on the commode with their phone. Or
let me add something too, and let's go into the education system, the school system now. Do you know history is no longer a requirement in high schools?
No, I did not know that.
It's no longer a primary core subject in a lot of high schools and a lot of school systems. Math, science, computer science, and I forget the other thing. They don't teach cursive writing anymore, and now history is going away. English, that's the other thing. But they don't teach cursive writing anymore. Now they're letting history die on the vine. God forbid, geography went away years ago. I mean, Mia, our adopted daughter, she confused Nebraska with Alaska with one guy on a plane one time. So she didn't know the difference. I mean, it is a changing world, but unless you keep up with it in our business, you're going to fall behind and then become an afterthought. And like Bo, or just like Tony said, they'll never remember you.
Randy Hales, Michael St. John, Pat Trammell talking Memphis Wrestling. I made a executive decision because we're already at 8:27. I have in my head, and I knew we wouldn't get to it, I have a 30-minute Lawler Dundee 1977 match. I have a match with Lawler, Rick Gibson, Lawler, Tommy Rich. I got some very good stuff that I'm going to hold off to next week on talking Memphis Wrestling. Is that the end of this show today? No, it's not. We skipped it last week, and we're going to go right to it, the photo section, a picture or two after the last logo for talking Memphis Wrestling. We'll start with 56-29, Adam, if we can do this. And I am going to let Pat describe who this is, who it was then, who it is now. This is a hell of a picture from the Channel 13 studios.
I can't see it great, Randy. That's Kerry Von Erich.
Jeff Jarrett,
and is that Kerry?
Kerry Von Erich, Jeff Jarrett, Phil Hickerson as P.Y. Chuhai, and the Master of Pain, you might know him as The Undertaker.
There you go. Look, that's 4 Hall of Famers right there, for sure.
Hey, Michael, real quick, before you comment on that great picture, Bo James asked me earlier in the afternoon, he lost your email and wanted me to send him your email, which both emails that I have of yours, I gave to him. He said to tell you that he emailed you several graphics and TV commercials about an hour ago. So
I'll look forward to it when I get off. That's great. Yeah, I appreciate you giving me that. Thank you.
Your thoughts on that picture?
Incredible. Incredible. I mean, will you ever have star power like that in the wrestling business again? Because you look at every one of those successful human beings, and as Pat says, and I've echoed a lot of what Pat said because he's been right on target tonight. Hall of Famers, one and all. And the youngest one on the bunch right there is Jeff Jarrett, I believe.
Yeah, and he's in probably his mid-50s, right?
58, I believe.
Something like that. Great picture. Next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling. This is an old one. And
Whoa!
Here to describe it is Michael St. John.
Well, the guy in the middle is not from the Addams family or the Munsters. So let's clear that up right now. He looks like that Count Von, the guy on the cereal box, the Count Von Dracula or whatever. That's Grady Reeves. Yes, Count Chocula. That's it. That's Grady Reeves. That's at Channel 19 here in Huntsville, up on the mountain, right next door to where I was this afternoon, with Jackie Fargo and Lester Welch.
Wow. How about that, Pat?
All right. I was thinking maybe that was a Welch, but I didn't know which one it was, and I certainly didn't know the announcer.
Yeah, that's Grady. His son, by the way, is a very super guy. Robert Reeves. He succeeded his dad at Channel 19. Robert's retired now, and but a great individual. Somebody, Bo James, I need you to get you introduced to, because Robert Reeves knows a lot of people in a lot of places.
Next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling. I love that picture. Now, there's something wrong with this picture, because you see a gentleman sitting right behind the Harry Thornton sign. That's not Harry Thornton, and that's Big Bad John. How about that picture, Pat?
The Bicentennial Baby. Yep, that's Nick behind Harry's slot, and I guess that's Chattanooga.
Yeah, that's the TV set at Chattanooga,
Okay.
Channel 12.
I don't know that I've ever seen the colors, it in color.
Yeah. You know what I love about that? Harry Thornton was the only announcer that ever had his name always on camera when they do a camera shot to him. He always had his little art card out there that said his name. None of the other announcers worldwide, I don't think, have ever done that. But Harry Thornton had his name there.
I think that's pretty neat. Next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling. Hey, how about this picture, Pat?
There you go. Tommy Gilbert, Eddie Marlin, and George Goulas as the official.
Michael?
Good picture of all of them. Yep. George, by the way, doing quite well from his hip surgery. He's, in fact, I think he's going to be released to be able to drive this week. Good. And they're saying by September he'll be back and able to officiate. And he's been a fighter. I'll tell you, people can say what they want, but he's gone through the surgery like a champ, and he's worked it, and I'm very proud to say that he's going to be bigger and better than ever when he comes out of it.
Next picture.
Ooh, Bullet Barb Armstrong bloodied up.
That's wrestling, Pat.
That's it. Tape. That was what was known in the day, children, as a taped fist match, it looks like.
Indeed. And I think that
was a I don't know if they did that in Memphis, but it was serious business when they did that in Birmingham.
That, I believe, is Birmingham, Pat. I really do.
It is too, yeah.
I think that's Birmingham.
Yeah.
Next picture. This is Bob Armstrong, Robert Fuller, and Ron Fuller. And this is probably from the Gulf Coast.
And I'd like to see the concrete block that Bob Armstrong's standing on.
Oh, good picture.
Great picture. Next. Hey,
there's the king and the superstar. Not the superstar, the handsome.
Handsome Jimmy.
How many Jimmy Valiant kisses were you a victim of, Michael?
Oh God, let's not go there. I was the better rube was when he put his tobacco in his dip in my mouth during a 3-minute interview and shut my mouth in the first 30 seconds of the interview and watch me get dizzy. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't that at the Hall of Fame?
No, that was in Evansville, Indiana, at a Jerry Lawler tribute night. And
okay, because he did the same thing at the Hall of Fame in Jackson. He went up and kissed Lawler.
Next picture. I like this one too. This is another Evansville event. This is Mick Foley. Mick Foley, easy for me to say, Cactus Jack with the superstar, Bill Dundee. The superstar and Mick Foley. Great picture, Pat.
Yeah, it really is. Really, really is. It's a good picture of Bill. Good smile.
Did it surprise you that Mick Foley went with Tony and is now doing AEW?
No, because Mick has always stood up for his principle, and we don't usually get political on this show. He got mad at the WWE for supporting President Trump. So he goes to AEW. Who do you think Shad Khan, Tony's father, who is the person's money behind, who do you think he supports politically?
I'm not at that. I don't run that circle, so I don't know.
So he supports Trump, and the WWE supports Trump. And we're not going to get political. I'm just saying, if you say on social media that you're leaving the WWE and your legend deal to go to AEW, you go to one Trump fan to the other. And so I just wanted to throw that in. Next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling. If we can go to the next slide, please, Adam. This is a bunch of legends. And so, Michael, can you see who all these people are? Because I've lost my glasses.
I was going to say, I got to pick my glasses up. That's Lawler's gold crown up front with his title, but that's all right. Jimmy Hart is to the right, and Jerry Calhoun, his neck is behind Jimmy Hart. I'm having trouble seeing who's in the back. There's Handsome Jimmy, of course, back there with the bandana, and I'm having trouble.
I think the other people are local people from Evansville, maybe Jeff Osborne, who put it on that event. Next picture on Talking.
The girl looks like my wife, but it's not.
No. Or she snuck away from you one night.
Exactly. I don't know if she's been to Evansville lately.
This was a couple of years ago. This is the most colorful wrestling announcer of all time and one of the worst hosts I've ever seen. He worked for Leroy McGurk. He worked for Cowboy Bill Watts. Do you guys know who this is without me saying it?
I know who it is, but I can't say his name because I'm having a senior moment. But I'll echo what you said, by the way.
How about you, Pat?
Don't know.
This is Boyd Pierce.
Boyd Pierce. All right.
Yeah.
The most flamboyant. Have you ever had a suit like that in your life, in your television career, Mr. St. John?
No, and if I did, I wouldn't wear it on TV.
Next picture.
Love it. Harry Thornton, Jackie Fargo, Tojo Yamamoto. Serious moment. Looks like that Fargo's been beat up and Tojo's come out to offer his help.
What year you think that is?
75, 76?
I would say mid-70s, yes.
Yeah. And you got to remember that Fargo and Tojo had this running. They were bitter enemies in this feud. And, somebody wanted to know what the biggest heel turn ever was the other day on Twitter. And I brought up the fact that Tojo Yamamoto, when he turned from heel to babyface to help Fargo after a 2-year run as a main event against Fargo, I think as the territories go, was one of the biggest heel turns ever.
I love that picture. Love it. Harry Thornton, who I never met, Jackie Fargo, who I did, and Tojo Yamamoto, I did hundreds of thousands of miles in the car with him, and I love that picture. The next picture was posted on Facebook by my friend Craig Miller and a graphic guy. I think this was done to make fun of me. What do you think, Michael?
I don't think he's making fun of you. I think that's those little characters in that Minecraft game or whatever is the hottest thing going. If anything, that's a tribute to you, man.
I was all over social media, posted, especially with people from Jonesboro, and it was funny. I was at my cousin Max's funeral as an honorary pallbearer, and one of the people that was honorary pallbearer with me was Dr. Fault, who is the principal of Jonesboro High School, who's a couple of years younger than me, and he brought it up. So it can hurt, even though I don't understand that picture, Pat. It can't hurt whether it's making fun of me or Michael says it's not making fun of me.
I don't think that's making fun of you. That's a sign. That's a sign that you've made it.
Absolutely. Hey, I would put that on your Twitter page. I'd replace your picture with that. That's 2026 right there. Kids are all over that, man.
Yeah.
I will try to work on that tonight or tomorrow. Next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling. What a hell of a show this is. Tommy Marlin, the referee, and is that, of course, it's Jackie Fargo. Is that Sir Steve Clements or is that?
No. Let Pat recognize him.
That's Ken Ramey right there.
Does that bring back memories to your childhood, Mr. Trammell?
Nightmares.
Look in the background. Are the medics, or the interns rather, are double teaming whoever Fargo's partner is? They got him in the corner.
Yeah,
it is Tojo. Look at you're right. I see the feet now.
And the knee pads. Yeah.
Yep. Dr. Ken Ramey and the interns.
How about this? I think this next picture will be from Georgia Championship Wrestling. We'll see if I'm in order on my deal. And yes, this is on the set of Atlanta Television, probably in 75 when Jerry Lawler had left Memphis for a few months because Jerry Jarrett quit booking him because Lawler didn't show up on a wrestling show. I believe it was in Johnson City. This is Jerry Lawler, Don Green, and the great Gordon Soley. How about this picture, Pat?
Well, that popped up on I think on X this week, and I think oh gosh, did you post it?
I don't think so. I stole it from somebody.
Tony Richardson posted it. I made the comment that may be the first time I saw Lawler, because that was about the time that, and I remember this, that was about the time we got cable TV in Talladega. I think it was 75. And I had seen the Greens in Birmingham, obviously, for years, but I had not seen Lawler to that point.
Had you not seen Lawler on Channel 42 with Jim White?
I don't remember, Michael. It may have happened, but I don't remember it. I just remember the green. I remember the heels more than the baby face.
Michael, what did you think about that picture? It's off the screen.
I've never seen that picture before. That's the first time I've ever seen it. That's a great picture. It's a studio. It's a still shot from a studio. That's a great picture of all three of them. Don Green still using that hair club for men stuff to make that hair dark back in those days, because he was his head was as white as mine when after he got out of the ring.
Adam says that picture was AI enhanced, whatever that means.
It could be. I mean, it could be. It all digitalized or whatever. That's a good picture.
One more time.
AI or not, it's a good picture.
There we go. Yeah, I think he's right, don't you? Now, Gordon looks more like Gordon, but not all the way. Lawler, you can see it's enhanced. And Don Green, that just don't look like Don Green to me.
I don't know. It's enhanced, but I don't think it's that far off.
Let's go with the next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling. And I want to ask y'all a question. This is Buddy Fuller, a young Buddy Fuller. This is probably taken in the 50s. Was he as tough as he looks? Because I wouldn't want to screw with this sucker at all. Michael?
Knew him when he had retired from the ring, but watched him when I was a kid, when I was young, in the ring. And yes, and he would sometimes wear that cowboy vest kind of thing. And he was a tough son of a gun. But look at the resemblance. I'm looking at him. That's Ron Fuller. You see Ron Fuller in that man. You see Robert Fuller in that man. As tough as they came. Really a brilliant guy too. In fact, I think probably doesn't get the kudos that he needs to be receiving as a great mind in this business, without a doubt.
Pat, your comment.
I didn't hear Michael because I had to catch a phone call. I don't think I ever saw Buddy Fuller wrestle.
I did on video. It was Buddy, Ron, and Robert against Johnny Gray, George Barnes, and Bill Dundee from 1975. And Bo, and I appreciate Bo you watching the show. He says he's pretty sure that picture of Buddy was taken in Kingsport when he still wrestled as Ed Welch. So
okay,
great.
Yeah.
And
I saw Buddy Fuller in person at the National Guard Army on Patton Street in Huntsville, Alabama on a Friday night, wrestle Alex Perez. And it was a no contest, and they battled each other all over the building.
Next picture after Buddy. And there is Don Green, Al Green, and Sir Steve Clements. And look at Don Green. He's the one that you're looking at it on the far right. And Adam, I want you to go back to that picture of Lawler, Gordon Soley, and Don Green. I want you to go back and forth with those two pictures. There's Don Green there. Of course, that was in 1975. Now, let's go back to the one that we just showed you. This was probably, what do you think, Michael, from this?
69 or 70?
I'd say 69 to 72.
I never knew Steve Clements wrestled.
He didn't, but they'd make him put on the tights and get in the ring every now and then.
Okay.
That is a cool picture. You guys agree?
Yeah, he's got the monocle. That was the thing that Steve Clements, I'll never forget. He had that little one-eyed monocle, that old English Sherlock Holmes kind of thing.
Next picture on Power Pro Wrestling. And this is a future father-son tag team. And here to tell you, if you don't already know, and real quick before we throw it to Michael and Pat, Richard says, Randy, why did Buddy wrestle most of his career as Fuller and not as a Welch? Probably because his dad and his uncles were promoters, and I would guess that's the fact. And Michael, before you talk about this picture, do you agree with my explanation? I've kind of pulled it out of my ass, but
I agree totally. I love this picture because about that age was when Jamie would come over to the house, and my son Chris would go over to Jamie's house, and they played. We were a block away, and they played with each other in the backyard. And I mean, that's a great picture. That's a great picture.
He looks so harmless there.
Hey, did Chris ever? Your son Chris, did he ever kick Jamie's ass, or did they get along?
They got along fine. They were buds.
That is great. Next picture, and I found this, and this is something that Derek King, he's a lot more obsessed with the past than I am. He sent this, and this is a little AI, I think. Michael, this is Brandon Baxter, Derek King, and yours truly with Derek would give anything to get one more ride with the Power Pro ride. And it's a thing of the past. But your thoughts on this picture, Pat?
Well, I tell you, at the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame event, Derek and I got a chance to sit back and talk 15 to 20 minutes backstage. I want us to have him on again soon, because Derek is one of my favorite people. He really is.
That will probably not happen, because he probably, with the company he's working for, who I don't get along with, the promoter at all, and so Derek always shies away from getting heat. He won't do the show anymore. He won't do it anymore.
Well, that's a shame. But I do like Derek.
I do too. Next picture. And I like this one too. This is 5720, I believe, Adam. And I don't know if we have lost Adam. And we have not. And so let me click on this, and I've got to scroll down. So So no, that is it on the pictures on this show right now. I have a couple more here. I thought I had put on this sucker, but that's a good little segment. So the picture segment this week, we missed it last week because we did the Phil Hickerson tribute. By the way, that show last week, thank goodness, was on YouTube by far the biggest numbers we ever got. Great numbers on all my other platforms with great numbers. Pat, another thing, I talked to Downtown Bruno Saturday evening. He went, and Michael had mentioned, was trying to get away. I don't know if he did or not. He can tell us in just a minute. But wrestling business wise, Carl Fergie met Downtown Bruno. They went together, and I was shocked by this. And also Doug Gilbert, and Doug lives in Lexington or maybe even Jackson now. And Carl Fergie, it turns out he went because Bruno asked him to. He was never in the territory when Phil was, so Carl Fergie never had met Phil Hickerson, and that was hard for me to believe. But certainly, Pat, I think we all still certainly biased toward that show last week. Pleasure to do, sad occasion, but I love the show last week.
Yeah, I did too.
Can we get Bruno
Absolutely.
on the show one night? I love Bruno. He's just the best. I mean, can we get him on the show one night?
We talked about it last night. His issue is he doesn't have real good internet at home. And the one time he did the show around the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame time, he had to go into Memphis and rent a hotel room, which is 30 minutes away, and take his phone and do it from his phone. I would love to have Bruno on the show, and we had just talked about it. I talked to him a few times lately, and we will make it happen, and we'll try to back that up with video as well. Again, as we're 9 minutes before the top of the hour, and we usually go to 9 o'clock. However, Ricky Gibson, Lawler, a lot of stories to tell there. Tommy Rich, Jackie Fargo, and Bill Dundee in a match that Dundee's hair against Lawler's manager's hair, Mickey Poole. It's a 30-minute highlight, 30-minute match. We'll hold that off to next week because, again, it is 9 minutes to 9, and we got probably 40 minutes of video to go. We'll sum it up right now. Pat Trammell, thanks a lot for taking time out of you. I know you are there on a very important business meeting, a lot going on in Minneapolis, Minnesota, for you to step out on your friends and step out on your business people that you're there for that big event that you're doing there in Minneapolis. Thank you very much for coming back to the real world, coming back to the wrestling world. What's your thoughts about this show? Different than last week? This is called Talking Memphis Wrestling. I enjoyed the fact that we were able to talk Memphis wrestling.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think you and certainly Adam and I know Michael contributes. So all of you contribute more than I do to content and everything else. And we've done some fantastic shows and topics over the years, but and over the weeks, which I appreciate, and I know everybody else does too. But sometimes it's just good to throw up some pictures and just talk through and reminisce about, what we liked when we were young, what we didn't like, and it's just been really hey Mod, thank you very much. But it's been just really nice to reconnect with everybody tonight.
All right. Ahmad, he's kissing Pat's ass and Michael's ass. And
Thank you, Ahmad.
the person that does the format, the person that researches the pictures and researches the type, and the person that was hands-on.
Adam Dunn deserves the credit. I agree.
I agree.
Hey!
Adam Dunn. Thank you so much, Adam. Ahmad, please thank Adam.
We had to rib you, Randy. We had to rib you.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Michael, I didn't give you a chance to do your last take. I love this show. Don't you think we were back? Not all the way, because we did do some videos of my kids. Thank you, RH, and thank you, Adam. And finally, obviously, Pat edged into it in my little thing, and now we got it. You guys are smart enough. Don't you think, Michael St. John, that we got back so much? Not entirely, but this show started as not even any video at all, not us on the screen. It was strictly talking Memphis wrestling. It's evolved in a great way, but I really, really, really enjoy it. Before you talk about the show, Michael, back to your announcer roots again. Here is a text message or a message from King of Kingsport, Southern States Wrestling coming to these towns. Here's Michael St. John.
Rogersville, Alabama at the high school, June 20th. Florence, Alabama, Singing Ribbon Brewing Company, TV taping coming up there. And on June 26th, the Huntsville JC's Community Building. That is at the old airport, right off Airport Road. TV every Saturday night, 9:30 on North Alabama CW. Channel 15, Channel 6 on Direct TV and Dish Network. And you got to catch it for Southern States Professional Wrestling. And I want to thank Bo for the kind placement of the Fun Radio logo there. We're proud to be a part of it. He's got a good commercial running, by the way. And I'm telling you, and I'm not blowing this horn for any other reason than what I firmly believe. I think Bo's onto something, and the quality of the show is getting better and better. So that makes it even better. I think people are gravitating to it. They're gonna like that, because it's live wrestling right here in their hometown and right here in North Alabama.
And Adam, I'll give him credit, because I did not have any of these graphics on the screen, because a lot of times I take things away to put new things up. And this is Rumble on the River, and that is a great graphic. Once again, Bo stole my gimmick, Rumble on the River. We saw a little bit of Power Pro Wrestling. He did a great job with these graphics. Great job with the graphics, and we wish him all the luck. Are any of these shows, Pat or Michael, are you going to be able to?
I'm looking at the 20th there. I might run up there with my pal, young Rick Hall. His dad was a famous producer at Fame Studios, and I'm due a trip to Florence, so I may be able to get up there.
JC Building in Huntsville is a great place to have wrestling. I know they did, when that building first opened, there were several wrestling events held there, and it's great to have it back, and people are going to know where it's at, and that's a good thing, because a lot of the wrestlers of the local folks, they've had them in buildings that people just don't know where they are. The JC, there's a ton of events at the JC Building, so it's going to be cool. That'll be very cool.
Third time is a charm, and we'll go it again. Michael, do you feel like Pat feels? Do you feel like Randy Hills feels? Do you feel, Michael St. John, a little bit, not just a little bit, but a lot? We got back to our roots today, and we just off the wall, off the heads when something clicked in one of our heads, and everybody contributed that, as you always do. However, I just feel real strong about this show. We kept our numbers, and we appreciate it very much. But Michael, do you feel we got back to our roots tonight, and did you enjoy the show today?
I absolutely enjoyed the show. I always enjoy the show. Let me tell you something. I love the talk banner, and talk radio's big, the podcasts are big, and videos, no offense, but you can go on YouTube and several other channels on any computer and watch any video any day of the week. It's streaming, right, Pat? It's streaming.
Yeah.
But the reason I do it is this: what they don't get is somebody else's perspective. Like Pat always has great comments, and Michael, me and you both, me from a booking standpoint and an office standpoint, you from the great jobs you've done through the years. So I think we add a perspective to the videos that you don't get by watching YouTube.
I'll agree with that, but I also think we can, any show can over video. I think TV a lot of times over video. I think the WWE over videos with packages and stuff. So I think if it's held in, like you say, in the context of we're adding to something that people may have seen before, maybe have never seen before, it's even the better. But I like the idea that we banner a lot. And Pat, I mean, let's not shortchange Pat, because I think Pat's perspective is so critical to what we do chemistry-wise, because he has the perspective of a fan, but he also has a perspective of somebody that has booked matches and booked shows as well. So I think it's a great perspective. I love this. I think it's a great combination. And, I love it when Coach is on, and I love it when Doc is on, but at the same time, this nucleus, I think, is very strong. Speaking of which, did you get the pic? I know you did. You saw the picture I sent to I was ribbing Coach earlier in the week. I was at a Tractor Supply to pick up something for Melanie she needed from the farm for the barn. And I went down and I walked past, and all of a sudden there's this 6-foot red rooster statue right there next to me. And I said, I sent it to Coach, and I said, they've done a memorial at Tractor Supply.
And he didn't respond for it. He didn't respond to it, I don't think.
Yeah, he responded to me. Yeah, he responded to me. Trust me.
That is
some choice words.
Folks, top of the hour for Michael St. John, Adam Dunn, and Pat Trammell. And until next week, I'm Randy Hill saying bye-bye, everybody, for talking Memphis wrestling. We're out of here.
So long.